Where were you at in your head? Were you somewhere in Portugal head?
I think I was going mad probably. And very sick, you know. But sometimes I was well. It was on and off. Sometimes very well, sometimes not off at all. Of course, meeting Mother is the greatest day of my life. It's something for which still today I'm very thankful to God to have that chance to meet Shri Mataji, and also the chance to somehow understand who she is on that meeting. Otherwise, I could have lost everything, because Shri Mataji was going to go away the next day, so time was short, you know. So I think Shri Mataji and God made it easy for me. It had to be such that I had to understand it there and then. So there was a certain preparation before meeting Mother. Once I was on a motorbike and had a head-on collision, and with the car. The moment the motorbike hit the car, of course my body is up in the air. During that time I was up in the air. I knew I was going to die. And in that split second I saw my whole life, since birth, since I was born, something one cannot remember when you are a baby, up to that day. Then I saw my own funeral. I saw my parents, you know, weeping over my body. Each and every person I have met in my whole life was there to see. And an angel up in the air who told me, what a big waste of a life, you know. And a life which really had a purpose, so it's really wrong, you know. And the next thing I hear a big bang. This was the bang of my helmet on top of the bonnet of the car. And then I fell on the floor, not a scratch, you know, nothing, you know. Very strange feeling, you know. So how can someone see his whole life from beginning to end, including my own funeral, in less than a split of a second? So that was like an awakening experience. Then one day I was in bed at 4 a.m. My parents arrive home, they wake me up, and they show me a glance of the picture of Shri Mataji. They say, look at what we have found, you know. And I said, wow, you know, I went to sleep. In those days, of course, because I was very ill, I was always praying to Christ to send the dove of the Holy Ghost to land on top of my head. That's something I was always praying for, and because I knew I needed divine salvation. There was no way I could get out of that situation. But even though I prayed and prayed and prayed, nothing happens, as you probably know from experience, isn't it? But that night, after seeing a glance of Shri Mataji, I don't know why, when I woke up, there was a voice in my head, you know, and I just knew this is the voice of Christ, you know, but not for sure, I wasn't sure. And the words were, I was hungry and you didn't give me any food. I was naked and you gave me no clothes. I was ill, you didn't come to see me. I was in jail and you didn't come to see me either. Those words kept coming in my mind, you know, very loud, and I knew, oh my goodness, these are the words of Christ, of course. Then I realized, yes, of course, you see, my cousin was in jail, and I had refused to go and see him in jail for 2 years, you know. He was my age, but he had done some drug offenses, and I said, no way, I'm not going to visit him, you know. And then I realized, my goodness, what a selfish person I am, not minding the fact I'm hurting my parents, my aunt, my cousin. I just don't care for other people. All I care is for myself. I'm really the most selfish, absurd person. So luckily I had this thought, I want to go and see my cousin in jail at last. My parents said, my God, what happened to you? Did you have an epiphany? You know, we've been telling you this for 2 years. What is this? Well, I don't know. I have to go and see him today. That was my luck, because I went to see my cousin in jail that day for the first time, and on the way back, my parents went to see Shri Mataji again, you know, so I was with them. That was my chance at last to see Shri Mataji. However, my girlfriend was atheist and a communist, and she refused to go. And Shri Mataji was staying in a place where you had to go up many stone steps. I don't know what came to me. I said, okay, you have to go. That's it. So I forced her up the steps, you know, really by force. It was hurting her arm, you know, I dragged her up all the way. So she had to come as well. So we arrived there. He was sitting on a small room. This is like an old castle, that place, very ancient building. And that room has no windows, where they told us to wait for Mother. And to go into the room, you have to go down some little steps of stone. And the door is so small, like in the ancient buildings, that to go inside you have to little bit, bend down, at least for my height, to go inside that room, down the steps. Once you are in the room, it's like a cell. You cannot get out of there. And we were waiting there for Shri Mataji. Shri Mataji was having a siesta, and all my family with me there in that room. Then I saw some people passing through. These were people, I know those guys, they were Sahaja Yogis, but I had met them in other false gurus, I didn't believe I would come to a place like this to meet these guys, I jumped out of that room and went after them, As I went after them, I saw a lady coming out of the room, totally disheveled, the sari was not, Mother just came out of siesta, you see. And some other, from a distance, and had the glance of Mother, and had the same motorbike experience. Instead of seeing my whole life, present life, I saw all the past lives, and could see that Shri Mataji had been my personal mother all my lives. That's what that vision gave. So there you are. Mother made it very easy for me to know that she's the mother of the universe. I knew I had met Christ at last. That's what I wanted. It was an emergency because Mother was going away the next day. But then Mother came to the room, that little room where we were standing with my family. And then Shri Mataji arrived at the room. She looked, and I was back there in the room, sitting there next to my parents and my girlfriend, Who is that? The first thing Shri Mataji said was, pointing at that girl, my girlfriend, who is that woman? What is she doing here? I lost my tongue. And Shri Mataji looked at me, you can translate. She knew that I knew English, I had been studying English for 2 years, I was really amazed, my goodness, she even knows that, I said, who is that woman? What she's doing here? I said, it's my, I couldn't find the word, and I said, my girlfriend. My what? My girlfriend, girlfriend? No, I don't know girlfriend. That doesn't exist. I said, girlfriend, girlfriend? No, it's indecent, it's absurd, it's obscene, Then I asked him, do you really love her? Big silence, I couldn't say I did, because I didn't, you see. How Mother knew everything. If you don't love her, then stop it, This is indecent, it's very gross, it's appalling, That was the introduction,